Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Gotham Knights Batgirl. I got this figure from Amazon.com, pre-ordered her, and she arrived today. So let's go and check out the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Batgirl. Here she is in the package. Looks like she has a baton, and then a collector's card and display stand. One side of the package, Batgirl from Gotham Knights. Other side simply says Batgirl. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's a figure posed up on top of the city. And here are a bunch of other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures you should check out. So with no further ado, let's open her up. And I did end up getting two of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch unopened Batman-related action figure collection. And I ordered two of these from Amazon. Was kinda hoping one of them might have been the platinum unpainted artist proof variation, but I guess I'll have to find that in the stores. And here are all four figures, making up the team of playable characters from Gotham Knights. Now the only two figures I don't have in the package are going to be the unpainted artist-proof Platinum Chase variant versions of Red Hood and Batgirl. On the lookout for them. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She comes with a display stand, a collector's card, and then a baton. But before we look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Batgirl from the upcoming video game Gotham Knights. This is Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. In the game, her father, Jim Gordon, has passed away, Batman has allegedly passed away, and the sidekicks have to take over defending Gotham City. So let's take a look at her. Starting with her head here, the hair looks pretty good, covering up the top part of her face. She's got kind of that Batman domino mask, two little ears sticking up through her hair. Yellow cape here. A little bit of texturing going on, very soft, movable material. The suit itself looks very good. Black or really dark sort of gray or blue on the sides, purple in the middle, similar to the Burnside Batgirl look. The bat symbol, yellow gloves, belt. You can just see the different texturing on the shoulders versus the front part. This looks to be a lot more armored. Fins, just a dash of gray there. Looks like double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, little yellow boots. Overall, it's a pretty nice color scheme, very recognizable as the modern Barbara Gordon Batgirl. And just a closer look at her face or head sculpt. I think her hair looks really good, the face looks really good, the nose, the lips, the eyes, the mask. I like what I'm seeing here. Good amount of personality in this figure. My biggest gripe is going to be her two bat ears. On my figure, the right ear has a bunch of brown on it from her hair. Sure, that's really easy to correct, just a little black paint, but you shouldn't have to. Now let's take a look at her accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's her display stand, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, says DC at the bottom. It's got one peg for the peg holes on her feet, very thin, very basic. Here's her collector's card. As you can see, we have the Barbara Gordon Batgirl standing on a rooftop overlooking Gotham City. Batgirl from Gotham Knights. On the back side, there is a description if you want to read that. Go ahead and pause now. And here's her true accessory. It's a baton. Black at the middle, a little grip on the handle there, and it's got pink on the other side. I believe in the game it sort of simulates kind of a light up on either side. Now, big complaint, her hand does not hold the baton properly. The handle is very thick. Really the only way for her to hold it is about like that, and that doesn't look very good. Yes, you can force it to be the sort of the right direction, but it's going to really stretch out her fingers, especially if you leave it that way. And that's about how she should be holding it, but it really doesn't fit in there properly. See how it's stretched out? Now when you hold it this way, kind of a little fail there, McFarlane. Don't get me wrong, she sure can hold it the right way, but the way her hands are designed, it really doesn't fit in there properly unless you're going to really stretch out the hands. Here's Batgirl holding the baton in sort of a passive manner, and then she flips it around, and it's ready for action. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories, now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her head, she's standing at about 6.7 inches tall, and probably about 6.8 to the top of the ears. Now, this figure is in the 7-inch scale, but she's a little bit smaller than 7 inches. Batgirl's typically a little shorter than Dick Grayson or Jason Todd. Now let's check out her articulation. Start with her head here. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. The hair obstructs it a little bit, but it can get over the shoulders. Shoulders go out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Ball joint, up, down, around, all that good stuff. She does have a butterfly joint between her shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion there. Bicep cut, and it's hidden very nicely under the different parts of her suit. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. Her wrist here has a ball in it. It's hidden pretty nicely. Rotate, it's going to be hinged, although you really can't get much out of that. Her torso, soft goods overlay. Now, I do feel like there's some articulation underneath, but you can't really get it to stick to any of those poses. You're really going to get only articulation from her waist ball joint here. Anything under here is pretty much useless. Rotate around, go forward and back. Like I said, there is something under here, but the way she's designed, you really just can't utilize it. Legs, complete just splits. Not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation, it's a little bit there. Then go forward about that far. Back, not too much. Double jointed knees below that. Then her ankle has a ball in it, also hidden pretty nicely. Goes forward and back, just a little bit. Rotate, tilt, rock, and toe articulation. Here's Batgirl, standing on top of a rooftop overlooking Gotham City. Here are the 4 heroes from Gotham Knights on the rooftop. And here they are, with their weapons drawn, ready for action. Here's Batgirl, facing off against the Court of Owls. Think back to that part in the trailer where you see Batgirl with the Court of Owls mask on her. Here's Batgirl in a steel mill. She hasn't seen or heard from Robin in a long time. She's investigating his disappearance. Here she is, on the catwalk, looking down. Here's Batgirl, investigating as she finds an owl mask on the ground, the last place she knew Robin would have been. And before she realizes it, Batgirl's completely surrounded by talons. But wait, there's more. There's always more talons. Here are all the playable characters from Gotham Knights, riding on 4 McFarlane White Knight Batcycles. Now I'm really surprised that McFarlane does not appear to be making a motorcycle from this game. I think it's right up their alley. They make a lot of different motorcycle and Batcycles. And just a closer look as they drive down the streets of Gotham. Now let's check her out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here she is, next to the Tim Drake Robin from Gotham Knights. These are the 2 newest figures to come out from the game. And here's the entire team of 4 playable characters from Gotham Knights. Now my collection is still not complete. Still trying to track down the unpainted Platinum Chase variant of both Batgirl and Red Hood. If anyone out there happened to get one by mistake and doesn't want it, drop me a line in the comments below. Would really appreciate some assistance there. Now Gotham Knights is not the only video game that McFarlane has made DC figures from. Here she is, next to a bunch of figures from the Arkham franchise. From left to right, we have the Arkham Asylum Batman, the Arkham Knight Batman, Gotham Knights Batgirl, Arkham Asylum Joker, and the Arkham Origins Deathstroke. I think this Arkham Knight Batman fits in really good with the Gotham Knights team of supporting characters. And here she is, next to McFarlane's Injustice 2 figures. Now the next video game figures we're aware coming out are going to be the Arkham Knight, as well as Injustice 2, Green Arrow, and Reverse Flash. Now we haven't seen any more Gotham Knights figures announced, but I'm really hoping they're going to give us a Gotham Knights Talon. That'd be a great army builder. I'm also really surprised they're not making any Batcycles or motorcycles from Gotham Knights. We saw pretty much all 4 of the heroes riding on them in the different various trailers. And I'd say it's pretty much a sure thing that we're going to get a wave of figures from the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Here are all the different Batgirl figures McFarlane has made so far. The only one I'm missing is the unpainted Gotham Knights Batgirl. I would say my favorite of these 3 is going to be the 3 Jokers Batgirl. Here she is, next to several different various Batman figures based off the comics. She's also going to be your best fill-in for the DC Cinematic Universe Batgirl, based off the HBO Max TV movie they're making. Here she is, next to the Ben Affleck DC Cinematic Universe Batman. Now let's check her out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here she is, next to a couple of Lex Luthor figures. Then, next to Superboy Prime and the Dark Knight Returns Armored Batman, Blue Edition. And here she is, next to a couple of Lobo figures. Then, next to the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn and the Mortal Kombat 11 Joker. Here she is, next to the Year 2 Batman. And here, next to the entire Batman 3 Joker's wave. And now, next to all 3 different variations of McFarlane's Swamp Thing Mega figure. And here she is, next to the Batman Who Laughs and Robin Crow's 4-pack. Here she is, with the Batman movie wave. I'm still trying to track down the unmasked Bruce Wayne Drifter. Then, next to the Speed Force Flash from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and Reverse Flash from the Rebirth comics. And here she is, next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse Ratcatcher figure. This is actually McFarlane's Spawn Soul Crusher figure, but he's always going to be Ratcatcher in my action figure world. And finally, here she is, next to the Dark Knight Returns Build a Horse wave. Now let's check her out, next to some other Barbara Gordon as Batgirl figures. Here are all the McFarlane DC Multiverse Barbara Gordon Batgirl figures they've made so far. Then, next to all my different DC Direct and DC Collectibles Barbara Gordon as Batgirl figures. Here she is, next to a Yamato Batgirl. Then, next to all my different Mattel Batgirl figures. And here, next to a couple of Barbara Gordon as Oracle figures. Now, a lot of people consider Barbara Gordon to be the first Batgirl, but she's not. Here she is, next to Betty Kane as Batgirl. This is from DC Direct. She is the original Batgirl from Batman Comics. And although Barbara Gordon would be the second Batgirl, here she is, next to a few different Cassandra Cain as Batgirl figures. Cassandra Cain was the third Batgirl. Once Barbara Gordon retook the mantle of Batgirl, Cassandra Cain became the Black Bat, and later the Orphan. And here she is, next to a Stephanie Brown as Batgirl. She was the fourth Batgirl. Stephanie Brown is now the spoiler again. Now let's check her out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how she fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix her with. Since she's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. Here she is, with some of her McFarlane Toys brothers and sisters, in front of 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures. And here she is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here she is, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here she is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here she is, next to some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here she is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, it's a pretty nice Batgirl figure. She looks pretty accurate to the game, although I believe there's going to be a bunch of different variations of her skin that you can choose from and customize. Her articulation is pretty good. A lot of the ball joints are hidden very nicely. The accessory's good, although it's a fail, the way it really doesn't fit to her hand properly. The sculpt and paint job are pretty nice. Little issue with the paint on the bat ear, but not that big a deal. Easy enough to correct. If I were to rate this figure, I'm going to give her a 7.5 out of 10. I'm enjoying her. She looks good, and I'm happy to round off and complete the entire team. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.